Dr. Clendenning, what a pleasure it is to be with you again today.
Hello, the Michael Libercci. How are you today, man?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. So I've got this new move that I wanted to go over with you, and I think maybe I'm just tricking myself, but I want to hear you're my bullshit meter. So if you tell me
Yeah, it
it
just
makes
capped and
sense.
pegged out, man.
So I'm in this move where I am going right around COVID, pre-COVID. So 2019, 2018, and back.
Okay.
And I'm listening to old podcasts. I'm listening to
Mm.
like older just people's ideas of what they were doing then. I'm reading this book that was stuck in the drawer in my office from a friend of mine, Richard Branson, Screw It, Let's Do It.
Yeah.
And that book, he's citing Al Gore, George Bush. I mean, the guy's talking about, these environmental things, like all this crazy stuff, right? And all this stuff that was super topical, still kind of topical, but the world hasn't ended yet. So I don't know how legitimate it all is. So I've been in this move where so what started this, right? And before we get to you here, what started this was, okay, I think, because I want to talk about triggers today. And what I'm trying to do now, so I don't get as off track, is I'm trying to like have mini motivation sessions for myself. So I'll pick up a book and read like 5 pages, or I'll put on Spotify an old book, or I'll go to an old interview for somebody on YouTube or Spotify and or a podcast that's old, and get these ideas flowing in my head of what people are doing and have done. Do you think me looking back at what people have already done to kind of see reference where they are now in a non-judgmental way, you think that's a waste of my time? Do you think that's good?
Not at all. I will simply reference Think and Grow Rich. When was that book written? 1920s. How many how many megastars right now are referencing Think and Go Rich?
Right.
All of them. All of them. And that book was written forever ago. So here's my perception on that. I love that you're saying, way back like 219, 218. And it does. It feels like a lifetime
Oh
ago,
yeah,
man.
it's far,
Like
dude.
I think about that. It's not that long ago. It was only a few years ago, but it does. It feels like a lifetime ago, and that's interesting. But like think about Mel Robbins wrote 5 Second Rule right about that same time. Right now, her podcast is just rocking and rolling, but she wrote that book in
She's
like 17, 18.
she's awesome.
Mel's all over the place right now, but she wrote 5 Second Rule back there pre-COVID times.
I
So
That's okay. So that's she just wrote a book. I have it here. I think it's called "Let Them" or "Let Them Be" or
yeah, I think I haven't
got
read
a
the new
green
one.
cover. It's fantastic. It's about people that are going to judge you and whatever negatively. And her whole mo is let them.
Hmm.
So
So, the simple answer is no. It's not a waste of your time. It's not a waste of the audience's time. I mean, well, okay. If it was a waste of time, why would we still teach history in grade school? Why would we
right,
teach British literature in college? Why would we teach all those things? Because we can't absorb, we aren't just born with, okay, I was born on January 1st, 2018. I know everything that predates the day I was born. Nope, that isn't the truth. You've got to go back and you've got to learn it. And you are in a completely different mental state and physical space in 18 and 19 when you would have read those the first time, right? Your
yeah,
business looked different. You looked different. Your family looked different. The boys were itty bitty. You were at a completely different station in your life. Reading that subject matter now, it's going to resonate different. It's going to land differently for you. You're going to hear something different.
yeah.
I've got books I read every year, every single year. I read them again, and I get something different out of them every time.
Okay.
That's just because of the state that I'm in. So I encourage you and I commend you for going back and listening to some of the old stuff. I mean, look at podcasts. That's brilliant. They're evergreen content, and you're learning stuff that you don't have to repeat. Right? I
No.
mean, they figured it out in 1819. Now that's pre-COVID. COVID was a car accident. Comes right down to it socially. At
Yeah.
least it was for me. Like I'm speaking socially. I was oh God, did I hate COVID. Hated COVID times, hated everything to do with it, was just mad all the time, which oddly rolls into triggers of where we were talking about. But to that to that end, man, you were in a different place, you're in a different time, you're in a different thought process. To go back and reread a book, re-listen to a podcast, you're going to pick something up. And I love the fact you're using it as mini motivation sessions. I think that's brilliant. Like right
That's
now, I'm going to steal it and I'm going to coin it. I'm doing the same thing, but I was making the excuse that that's the extent of the attention span I have right now. I got 5 minutes of attention span. I'm going to grab this thing instead of calling it a mini motivation session. Like it's focused on abundance thinking versus there it was in scarcity thinking. So,
yeah.
so thank you for that.
You're welcome. So I'm careful not to tangent because I have a big problem. I go down rabbit holes and I leave the mini moment and suck up productivity. But
yeah, welcome to the group. We air on Sundays at 12:30, I think.
yeah, I know, I get it. So with these mini motivation sessions, I find that it's really cool. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 5. I try to crush as much content. I try to listen to words. And I kind of thought of a cool thing because you and I are writing our new book. And as I'm listening to Richard Branson, maybe I'm giving too much information away, right? But if I'm interpreting the formula for writing a book, not every book, but most books, right? Like you get a story, then you talk a little bit about something about it, and then you move to another story that's somebody else's story, and then you talk a little bit about a topic. So in other words, some of these chapters in the book are him telling a story, then it's a blurb and a transition, another story that's about someone else that's relevant to the topic. And it seems like it's this EKG monitor from story to story, which maybe it's a period in time that book, I don't even know when that book was written. I wish we had somebody that I could go, hey, person, look that up. Maybe 06, I don't know. But he originally wrote the book. He was originally asked to write that book for people that are non-readers to make it an easy read. It did so well that whoever they are went back and asked him, hey, can you do this again with some more in-depth examples and insights? And he was talking, screw it, let's do it. It was about empowering his employees, empowering everybody at Virgin. At the time, it was like 50,000 people worked for the guy, I think, or something crazy like that. And whoever's got the ideas, come on, bring them. Let's go. Let's respect. He said people don't leave jobs because of pay usually. They leave jobs because of respect. And this is just excerpts from the book. And again, I'm not saying that's his philosophy today. I don't know the man, but it to me made sense. And then the formula he was sort of using made sense as well. So I'm like, wow, man, maybe this does really work. The stories land and they help me. They help me remember part of the book. Because not only stories are entertaining, stories probably act as mental anchors to help people remember your points. I'm not saying this is an absolute, but you know what?
A segment of the population, right? A segment of the population, that's how they learn. So, I mean, in this, yes, our last book that we wrote, we followed a specific model and it spoke to a specific audience. We're going a little bit different model with this one, which is not unlike a Richard Branson book, not unlike a Mark Victor Hansen book. That's a model he did. There's a couple other authors that have done this as well. Who wrote, I can't remember the name, everybody will criticize me this, seven levels of communication. We're following a little bit of that model too. So it's a model. Like when you think about, and here's the other thing I'll tell everybody. If you think writing a book is too hard, too bad, do it anyway. Like write the book. I got challenged a couple years ago to write my first one by Dr. Emily Letran. Like I told her, and I think she's written like 15 books at this point. But she challenged me to write my first book, and now we're in number 4 now. Within not quite 2 years. This is number 4. You and I have written one other together. We've written this one together. So Yes. Is it difficult? Is it challenging? Yeah. Is it rewarding? Yeah. Did you get to share your message? Yeah. There's way more benefit than the work involved in doing it. So, get in there and do it. And here's the other thing where Mike's talking about. You're not going to reach every single person. Like, not everybody loved Harry Potter. Not everybody loved it.
And I
And not
don't,
everybody loves The Matrix. Not everybody
you
loves
don't,
Jim Shockey's book. So you're not going to reach everybody, but you're going to reach your audience, and you're going to touch somebody. And 15 years from now, somebody's going to look back and say, hey, I was reading Mike's book, and I looked back at it again, and I didn't read it this way the first time. And they're going to get a different message from it.
well, sometimes you don't have to have an audience. Sometimes you just want to get your stuff out there and say, okay,
So
look,
you grow an audience.
I grow an audience, or just put your crap out there. And I wonder how Dr. LaTran is doing. I have not heard a peep from her.
She is traveling like crazy. Right now she finished up her movie that she was an investor and producer and she did have a small part in it that she was there. She's in, which is hilarious. I shouldn't have said it that way. There's no small people, there's only whatever that saying was. But Emily, she was in the movie. Right now she's working on the International Film Festival, and she is doing Vietnam Journal for the Los Angeles Tribune. So
Cool.
busy as all get out as always. And somewhere in there, she's still a dentist and a doctor and does all the things. I don't know that she actually does sleep. I'm not convinced that she does.
Yeah. Well, I've called her before, and she's like, I'm still seeing patients. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. She loves it.
Like, what are you talking about? Patients. I'm a fan. Oh, by the way, so COVID, real quick, let's be back to that. COVID changed my life in a way for the better. It changed my life in two ways, right? One way was positive, one way was negative. I was working heavily out of my home area, and I was working down in my DC offices way too much. And COVID allowed me to be around my kids more, and COVID allowed me to watch them grow up, right? So I shifted from a mainly in-person business to a virtual business. Now it's kind of shifting back on purpose, but it's been a game changer. And I mean, listen, and then it got me deeper into the coaching world. And listen, there's some people I have worked with for a long time I've never met in person. It's wild. I've never seen them in the flesh. And in that element, it made some things okay. But that opened up a new chapter. Talk about your audience. You have to be good at doing that, and your audience has to want that, right? And I feel like it's not for everybody, and I don't care. I'm not trying to work with everybody. Neither are you. So the other side of COVID was the whole medical side jacked me up for a long time. And then that's still 6 years later, 7 years later, dealing with it, unearthing some things and just kind of piecing life back together bit by bit. So, I don't make excuses. I just move forward. But still, COVID in and of itself was a blessing and a curse.
I think that's fair.
And plus, some of the information we're getting right now about some of the things, I guess everybody was making the best decisions because that's what I have to believe. I'm not going to take sides because that's weird. It's polaric and it's great, but for this circumstance, I have to believe from an agenda perspective, people were making the best decisions with the information they had possible. And
that's fair.
I think.
Well, and you said it correctly. That's what you have to believe. It's what you're choosing to believe in order to not run down the rabbit hole. Same thing for me. Are there things during COVID that occurred I wish I wouldn't have done? Sure, of course there is. But I can use that as any circumstance in my entire life. I can look back and go, well, this year this happened. Sure wish I wouldn't have done that. And there's residual health or financial or business or mental, that occurs.
Totally.
So yes, we're using COVID. I think we kind of use it as a marker, really, just in our generation, as it's a major event. It's not unlike, and this is going to sound weird, and you guys can jump in there and say it. I'm just using this as a reference. Like 9/11 is a marker, right? It's a point in space. It's a date. It's a time. It's a thing that you know where you were, when you were, how you were. Well, the same is true with COVID. Yes, it was a longer period of time, but you use it as a marker in your universe that you're using, much like those of us that are married. You know, what day did you get married? That's a marker. A thing happened when your kid was born, a marker. So
Yeah.
COVID is like that. It represents a time. It represents a stamp of here's where I was, this is what happened, here's where I am.
Well, speaking of timestamps, marks, here's where you were, here's where you want to be. The Guild, it's right below me here. And how did I end up on this side this time? That's cool.
I don't know. I got
Um,
to figure it out. You're over there.
it's right below me down here. There's a QR code, scan it, go to our website, total-disruption.com. If you can't get through there, message us on the social channels. We would like to unlock some of the possibilities that you're not yet tapping into, right? Jake and I are journeymen. We've been through it all. We don't know everything, but we know what's not right and what's right, and we can help you in a big way. If you're trying to grow your personal self, your brand, your business, your life, listen, jump in, right? Take a test drive and come connect with us, right? It's a game changing experience. It's a group of people that are pretty phenomenally like minded, and it moves fast, right? What do you say?
Yep, agreed. Here, pretty quick, you're going to be able to get our new book, which is getting ready to come out right now. Working Titles KLT Formula. Is that the ending title? I don't know. We'll get there. But the new book is getting ready to roll out. Should be available in the next few weeks. There's also some new corporate trainings that are going to be coming out for learning modules that you can get into as a member of the Guild. You'll have access to that
I'm
stuff.
pretty excited about that.
Yeah, those are cool because what people are asking for, right? And that's what we do. Is somebody says, "Hey, I need this thing. This is what I need. This is what I've been wanting to do, and I'd love for you to build it, create it, design it, teach it, whatever that's going to be." We're kind of yes how people. That's what we're doing is the yes how version instead of no right now. It's the yeah okay. How do we get that done for you? So that's where the new corporate trainings, we've done some in the past, but these are going to be a little bit different in just our platform. So go to the Guild, check it out. You'll be able to access all that stuff as a member.
Check it out, rock it out. All right. So as we're moving down the line here, let's I wanted to say some of the mini motivational things I've been doing was because I wanted to steady my mind. Right. I've been finding lately for some reason, I don't know whether it's like changing season, barometric pressure, just came off of vacation. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like not like sensitive, like I'm crying. I'm like agitated sensitive right now. I'm like bothered easily. Like I was in
Mm-hmm.
the gym the other day, and for some reason I was in everyone's way. Like I was just headset on, working out. Hey, mind if I get in here? Hey, mind if I get by you? Hey, never happens, right? I live in gyms, and I'm like, and I'm irritated by it. No, everyone's super polite. Nobody's. It's just a normal thing, right? I'm on the road. People are. I don't get road rage, but people are drifting in my lane, stopping short. I'm like, whoa, there's all these things going on. So I said, okay, that must mean either I am not taking enough care of myself, that I'm in a vulnerable hyper state, or I need to get more into the grounding space and lock some things in. Maybe I've got some loops in the back of my head that aren't closed, and it's leaving my mind open here, and I got to take care of some business. So I have these reflection periods all the time because I constantly pay attention to what I'm doing. So I started the mini motivational sessions to try to break the cycle, and it does work. Even some days more than others, but it does work. What about you? What are you doing lately? Are you triggered? Anything going on over there? I mean, I know you got a lot of
Well,
movement.
and I wanted to tell you that story based on what you're talking about, right? Is that it feels hyper irritated, and for some reason,
Yeah.
I'm kind of I've been in a similar state here. Yes, there's tons of stuff going on in my universe of things that we're working on, family wise and business wise and life wise. One of the things I notice for me, as I get, and it's really bad now, right? As I get older, it's much more noticeable. There used to be a time wasn't that long ago, to where literally I could jump off the couch and I could probably go run a marathon. It would hurt, but I could do it. I could probably do it now. It just hurt a whole lot more. But like, I've got all kinds of little aches and pains and bumps and bruises and little things going on. Like I got a finger that's hurt and I got a toe that's hurt and I got a hip that's a little off. My back was a little wonky last week. All those things compile, and I reference it like a sunburn at that point, to where like everybody that's listening to this has had a good quality sunburn once in their life, to where I don't care if you put the most comfortable shirt you own on, it is going to irritate you, because that burn hurts. So I mean, so think about it. It may not be one thing that's bugging you, but I'll give you the example of where we're talking about triggers. And I had this morning, and it's ridiculous, but this has been a trigger of mine. And you mentioned COVID, and I was laughing because of the time period where some of this comes from. My wife and I have been going and doing all of our annual physicals and checkups and pokings and proddings and all the things. It's just that time of year. And we're getting that stuff done. And she's got to get a referral to a different clinic for something different because they can't get her in. And she asked me a very simple question that shouldn't be an issue. She's like, "What's the fax number to this clinic?" And that was a massive trigger to me. Yes. Yes. And it was like, and here's what I said. It's 867-5309. She wrote it down. She wrote it down. I had to take it back, but just me being a jerk at the moment because I was triggered. And it was like, I can't believe you'd ask me a ridiculous question about the 1980s technology that medical clinics are still using to send referrals. So it jumped out, and out of being passive aggressive, and I apologized about it. I said 867-5309. She didn't get the joke until I took it back. I sung it. And she's like, she's kind of like, "Oh my God." But it was a trigger. And it was one of those things that like, I went sideways off of it because it's like for no reason. So like,
there's a reason.
Yes. Is it out? It's antiquated technology. We have no use to use it anymore. I mean, and none of us own. I don't own a fax machine. I don't have an app that can send a fax machine.
Oh, I do. I pay $10 when I need to send a fax. There's like an app that charges you like there's $10 a week. I pay the $10 and they cancel right away.
Yep, and you can do that. You can do that, but like really, with where we are in the universe, and a fax, we're so far beyond that. But that was just my issue this morning. But what does that tell you? Was that really the problem? No, that is not the problem. Is it a trigger? Yes. It's also what's really bugging you. What's really going on? What's the sunburn? All of that was an itchy shirt that came up, and so I got to look at what the sunburn is, and I know what it is right now. I'm running, and it stems from you go to the doctors, you get on their scales tell you something different, and I've been feeling it a little bit, and I'm running about 5 pounds hot right now. I'm running, and I know when I cross over about 178, that's about my marker. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. About 178 in a health standpoint. That's just I start feeling sluggish. Right now it's hot, and I'm just like, I don't feel good. So I know that what happened was I kind of hurt my back a couple weeks ago. No, at least this time I wasn't picking up a piece of popcorn or a pencil or something. I was actually carrying a 50-pound bag of grain. And I was just, instead of carrying it right, I threw it up on my shoulders behind my neck and was lugging it up the hill just to get it done, thinking I was cool. I got 3/4 of the way up the hill and my back just said nope. And I almost had to crawl back to the house. So I've been hurt for a couple of weeks. I have not been eating well. And I gained a few extra pounds because I'm just literally not able to move like I want to move. So I know that's what the actual sunburn is coming from. So what's the solution? What's the lotion? We're going to keep rocking this. Like for you, that for me, that's what it is. For me, it's movement. I got to get back to doing Tai Chi. Plain and simple. I didn't move at all for 2 weeks, trying to let my back rest. There were plenty of things I could have been doing. right? Plenty of exercise. Yes, it's hypersensitive, and I can't be swinging kettlebells and doing that kind of stuff, but I can be moving. Like I can be walking. And I just wasn't. And so that's why I feel a little off. That's why a fax machine triggered me. So like I know that that's what I got to do. I got to move. I need to, I know I'm running about 5 pounds hot. I'll burn through that in about 2 weeks, just moving. My weight moves around a little bit, but I know that was mine in being triggered. So like, that's a recent thing, but that's what I would tell you guys is you're not mad from a neuroscience standpoint. It is unlikely you're angry at the example of somebody asking you for a fax number. That is not actually what's pissing you off. Is it an annoyance? Because it's antiquated technology. My God, can we get past it? However, that's a moment, to Mike's point, of doing these mini sessions. All right, take a minute, take a pause. What's really going on? Back it up, ask a couple, 3 questions deep, find out what the root burn is, and work on solving that problem. I'm not going to solve for every medical clinic in America their fax machine issues and they're clinging to 1985. I can't solve for that, but I can solve for what's actually the problem in my universe right now.
And it takes,
So that's
it takes, to echo what you're saying, it always takes 14 days from when you start, if you stay disciplined, to make any shift. I always say it takes 14 days. Life can change in a moment, but to see anything from the discipline that you install, it's always about 14 days and then beyond for that momentum to countershift. The second you place your controls, the second you do the discipline, the second you whatever the is, it always takes about 2 weeks. And I have no idea why it takes 2 weeks, but that's just sort of biology, right? That's just our chemical makeup. I mean, you want to try to drop 2 pounds? Sure, stop eating. You could drop 2 pounds in 2 days. But to sustain and get to 10 or 20 or 5 and to keep it off and to instill the habits and to lock the controls, your efforts now are massive, and then it trickles in 2 weeks, and then it goes from there. So it's always 2 weeks. It's annoying. It seems like it takes 5 minutes to gain 5 pounds and then 5 months to take it off mentally.
And it doesn't improve as we age.
No,
like it doesn't improve as we age. It takes more work. It takes more it takes more discipline. And that, for me right now, that's the hardest thing. And I, if anybody can empathize with this, like jump on, give us comments, like, subscribe, do all the things. Like the most difficult thing for me, and it always has been, is to start. Once I'm going, man, I'm going. But the most difficult thing is to start. And it's no different than, 2 weeks ago, I threw my back out. So I stopped. I have to start again. That's the hardest part for me. So that resonates with you, man, reach out.
All right. Well, we are running hot, buddy. Good talking to you today, Jake. For Jake Clendenning, I'm Michael Libercci. Now it's your turn to disrupt. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.